Well, hey everyone, it's time for the digital huddle today, and we got someone that we are going to talk to that you know so well, someone who's amazing, who is on staff here at GC, and it is our children's director, the one, the only, Robbi Crimm. Everyone get loud for Robbi. What is up, Robbi?
Hello, everyone.
Look, we're so happy to have you in this interview because we're talking to different people about the different gifts and abilities that they have, where it's just very obvious that they are living within these gifts and abilities that God has given them. And something I've been excited to talk to you about because I've gotten to hang around you quite a bit, and something that you're so consistent with that is very difficult for so many of us is how are you so joyful all the time?
Well, I mean, working with kids, they help. They definitely feel that. It's always exciting times, even the good and the bad. Like kids in general is just exciting. Their innocence, they're joyful, their imagination. So I think I get to feed off of them a lot. So being around them most of my life, that helps fuel the joy. And then I tend to go to Disney a lot, so I can tap into that childlike wonder myself often too.
Well, I'll say, look, I'm around three kids all the time, right?
Okay.
And even though I'm around three kids and I go to Universal and I was going around Disney quite a bit before, I would say when I stub my toe, I still feel like you would just laugh and I would say things I shouldn't say. So how do you stay in that place? I mean, I feel like consistently you have a smile on your face. I know you probably aren't like that 24 hours a day,
Right.
but it is really an amazing thing. I love this because joy is not just being happy, but joy is I feel like what you exude, and joy is a fruit of the spirit, and the Bible says that we'll know them by their fruits, and that's something when I see you, I think, man, that person must know Jesus. I want to be like that person. So how do you stay in that place?
Well, like you said, it's just not something I'm always like, but I try to be most of my time joyful because it's not about like circumstances or things that may happen to me. Of course, at that moment, I'm going to feel it. I'm going to have different feelings. But at the end of the day, I have the solid foundation of God woke me up this morning. I have clothes on my back. I had a roof over my head. I'm safe. So I think having that as my foundation growing up, my mom was really good at making us remember, like, even in the bad days, think about all the good things God has blessed us with. We're here today. We have breath inside our lungs, and we have plans to do some fun things later, or maybe just again be home in our safe home, in the clothes on our back, and then eventually we'll have some fun things. But I think having that foundation in who I am and all that God is doing, despite the things around me, that I can still be joyful because, like you said, fruit of the spirit, God called us to be joyful. And that's been really the biggest help.
That's awesome. I mean, what I hear you saying is that so much of it is our perspective.
Yeah.
I do think we can get caught up on the wrong perspectives,
Yeah.
and in turn, we miss out on some of the joy that maybe God has for us. And sometimes we just take life so serious. And
Yeah.
I really do think we could have some fun living our life for God as well. So, um, all right. So I want to talk to you about being a leader because so many people on our team, they're leaders in different ways. I mean, everyone is a person of influence. And so whether you're a leader at your home or you're a leader at work or whatever that looks like, as a leader, you have expectations. You're going to try to hold this line of excellence if you're doing things well. If you're maybe a boss or a parent or something like that, there's people in your life that you need to correct and realign sometimes. And some of those times, let's take parenting. I have a hard time sometimes if I have to like get onto my boys over and over and over again. I have a hard time. It kind of knocks me off for the day, and I have a hard time realigning and getting to that joyful place. But you seem like someone who, with your teams, with your leaders, even though all of your teams are volunteer leaders, you do a great job of still holding the line of excellence and having to correct when you need to correct and doing it to where no one feels like you are just being real negative or real bossy, but instead like you come through very with a lot of joy, making us feel like like you're right, like I do want to adjust that. So talk to us about that. Like how do you do that? Is it just like the Robbi magic or what?
No, like you said, being in leadership or having a place of influence, it does have a lot of highs and lows. There's a lot of things that you have to correct in the moment or get correct right away because it's complete opposite of expectation or safety issues with kids or just expectations. Like you said, you're laying out, you want to do your best at all times because we're doing our work unto God. So I think as I lay that out, I'm saying, don't think about doing it for me. Don't think about doing it for GC. But this work at the end of our life, we're going to be held accountable to God. And we said, yes, we want to have that joy in serving. And there's all those tasks that are not so fun of showing up on time and checking in and staying off our phones. Those are not fun things I have to be reminded of. But if you remember what you're doing it for, the reason we're here, why are we serving the greater good? At the end of the day, when the families come in and they see that you're alert and ready to serve these children and them as parents, that you're asking the questions, that you're prepared for the day, that gives them peace of mind. So I communicate the why to help them understand that it's just not me being a ruler and trying to get everything perfect. It's just because we have a bigger picture that we have to uphold in the standards. Like you said, we want to have excellence. And I am a type 3 on the Enneagram, and I love to achieve and have all my ducks in a row. But I think the other thing that's helped me to keep that joy as well is to expect things are going to happen, have grace for people, make allowances for people, especially like you said, as a parent, there's a lot of things that you just can't plan. You can't plan when your kids are taking turns being sick. So I expect that. Like I have families that I'm like, okay, this may be a weekend if something big is happening that they may need off. So I get ahead of it. That also helps planning a little bit to factor in those situations that may come up. So that way I can hold my joy and say, hey, you can't make it, this happen, but God will always provide because he has never let me down. So, hey, I hope you have a good time. Hope you feel better. Hope the kids feel better. And we hope to see you next week. And then I just check on them as people to make sure they're okay, not just the task I needed them to do or the room I needed them to fill. So then that helps to break down those barriers and let them know that I love them as people and that I want to lead with love. So I lay that foundation of loving them as people and community with them and connecting with them as people on my team. And we're part of a group. So that way, when it's time for correction, I can just say, hey, friend, don't forget that we want to do these things. And I know we got relaxed, but let's go put on our shirt. Let's put away our phone. But again, if it's something more major, I would take them to the side because
Yeah.
I want to honor them and be respectful for them as well. And I don't want anyone to feel held accountable as far as like in front of everybody. So it's like a spectacle.
Yeah.
I just want to take the time to correct them, to the left, to the right, make sure we're on the same page, and then follow up. Because sometimes you think you did it right, or they may have received it wrong because something in their day or their week wasn't going so great. I think that also helps. So correct them, but then follow up and say, is everything okay? Did I communicate the change that we needed? And then from there, they're like, oh, absolutely. And then it's like thumbs up. Let's see you next week.
Yeah, I love that. Again, like so much of it comes down to perspective, right? I mean,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
even like what you're saying with the parenting side of it, it's remembering why we're doing this, remembering that I
right.
get to do this, remembering that I'm molding this human being. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
God has trusted me with three human beings.
yeah,
So on those days where it's tough and I don't have much energy left in the tank there, I still need to have joy knowing that like I
yeah.
get to do this. I get to be the dad to these three boys. And so good. Love that so much. Okay, so we don't have much time left. We're almost out already. That goes by so fast, doesn't it?
I know. It's so
Um, so
quick.
quick. So this is what I want. If there was just, let's say, one thing for someone right now that maybe they are feeling a little down, they're just not having a whole lot of joy in their life, and something to help shift them to a place of joy. What's one thing practically that they can do, do you think, right now?
I think take a step out of like your role and what you do day to day. That's something that's childlike or something that just makes you excited, that you're eager, that you don't have to operate in like a leadership role. So like I said, for me, that's Disney. I can go there. They used to say Chuck E. Cheese is where a kid can be a kid. I say Disney where this adult can be a kid.
Sure.
So find something that brings you joy in that way, that you can laugh, that you have no plans, you have no expectations, no one to report to or delegate anything to. Just prioritize doing something that brings you joy. That could be going to the beach, reading for fun, doing doing, I don't know, theme parks or just anything like that, or staying home and just not looking at your emails,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like for you. But prioritize that time often, not once a year, but often.
One conversation we're gonna get into with a different person on an interview is your rest, and I feel like
Yeah,
you're speaking a lot to that. Like in order to really experience the joy that God wants to have for you, you also sometimes the most spiritual thing you do sometimes is just take
yeah,
a nap.
yeah,
Um,
that's true.
take turn off your calendar for a second. Like don't worry about all your responsibilities. Like just take a second to just get healthy and rest and take that
That's right.
Sabbath. And, anyways, thank you so much for coming on here, Robbi, and talking to our dream team and letting us know how Robbi works with all that joy inside of you. We
Thank
just,
you for having me.
yep. So listen, everyone, hop in the chats, tell Robbi how much you love her, and we will see you on Sunday. See ya.
Bye.